It took me 27 years, I'm in the trade, to understand, okay, what does it, and how this came into the food. What was the reason of adding a mustard seed into a pork dish? So it was a tenderizer. So what was papaya doing into that dish? So it has got an enzyme called papain. The same way pineapple, it has got an enzyme called bromelain. So it's the science and art together makes a wonderful dish.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Jaipur Bytes, the official podcast of the Jaipur Literature Festival. We are here at the VFS Global Friend of the Festival Lounge on this beautiful furniture, courtesy of Gulmohar Lane, in your beautiful outfit, which is really matching with the room's vibes.
Thank you.
Super Chef Anand George. Before we go ahead and talk about the chicken that we have today, I want to just know, when was it that you knew that you're drawn to the scintillating world of flavors and food?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Anand George, based in Cardiff, Wales. That's where I've been for the last 20 years, but I'm born and brought up in Cochin. That's where I lived for age of 21. Then I went to a culinary school to be trained as a chef. So my real love for food comes from my mom's kitchen, where I ate. So I come from a very traditional family where men never entered kitchens. So my mom used to keep me on the kitchen to do homework, and I used to see what mom makes and the flavors, and she cooked fantastic meals for us. And that's where it all started.
And you started with which particular dish? What was it that you knew this is what you love the most and this is what you would want to experiment with future on in life?
It's not like that I ate everything, because I come from two different cultures. My father's side is Syrian Christian and my mom's side is Latin. So they're both the culinary, even though it's a Christian. When you classify Kerala cuisine, we say it into three major cuisine: Nambudiri Brahmin, Mopla cuisine, and the Christian. But if you subdivide it, there are two more. The Syrian Christians, who consider to be the so-called the Brahmins converted by Saint Thomas. They think they're the upper caste. And the Latins, the Portuguese did this, is where majorly they were the workforce. So both of their food cultures are different. But then once you go to the culinary world where you learn the basic things, then you understand. It took me 25 years for me to understand what food does to us. The food is not just... Food is more to me as a medicine, is a well-being. And what you eat, what you are. Doesn't mean that I'm big because I love to eat.
No.
And you should have that passion. And how do you carry that passion to the profession? When you run restaurants and hotel, there's a lot of limitation which we have to. And that's the challenge we face.
But as you say, that there is so much more to food than what meets the eye, or to be clear, than what meets the tongue. Yeah. And you have been looking at the larger histories associated with food too, which has made you, which has come about with its revelations. For example, food as medicine, or food stories that we don't hear. What are some theoretical ideas about food that you think people misunderstand the most?
It's again the ingredients which you add into the food. Why do we like the drumstick? The drumstick which you add in a sambar. So the sambar is more a Tamilian vegetarian dish, but it has got all the proteins and the elements what you get from a meat. So there are things, and the leaf of the moringa. So these all things now in Europe it's very fashionable, moringa powder, which is the dry leaves which is powdered. So the food is something, the ingredients has a role to play, and how you balance it, that's where the science and the art form comes in.
You know, when we travel around the world, and we were in conversation yesterday with Susan Jung, who was talking about her writing about food and also the adventures that culinary world has brought for her. When we were talking earlier, you talked about these revelations that Indian cuisine, especially where you come from, has so many colonial influences too. And it was when you traveled across the world where it really opened your mind to the world of food and the diversity. What has travel done to your kitchen?
So that's what, understanding the ingredients and the thing. So So when you go to a culinary school, I'm not saying that the culinary school teaches you exactly. I think the curriculum need to be updated. The way we have been taught is the basic things to learn about. But understanding ingredient is something which comes out. It took me 27 years, I'm in the trade, to understand, okay, what does it, and how does this came into the food? What was the reason of adding a mustard seed into a pork dish? So it was a tenderizer. So what was papaya doing into that dish? So it has got an enzyme called papain. The same way pineapple, it has got an enzyme called bromelain. So it's a science and art together makes a wonderful dish. And again, the travel journey of people who has been, like the Portuguese traveled all the way to Brazil. So that's where we got a lot of ingredients, because they were looking for black gold. That's the reason which attracted them, because the Arabs had the monopoly trade. So when they came in, they brought a lot of stuff along with them from Brazil and that part of the world. So we use the plantains, the tapioca. So a lot of dishes came from Latin America. And when we visit, there are a lot of specialty restaurants, they serve tapioca. And tapioca is a very staple dish in Kerala.
How fascinating. So food quite literally is melding on the platter.
Yeah, and it's only evolved and evolved, like the climatic conditions where you are. It's all being the part of the well-being. And again, the social, economic status of the family or the region. So the food doesn't have to have saffron and Gucci and all these things. But the element of love is there. That carries through food.
And you talked about this element of love earlier too. It's not just mom's food, and it's just not you seeing your mom making food in the kitchen. It is your mother's food, and that touches you, right? In a way.
Not as my mother's food touches me, the way mother makes food. Because when my mother makes, she thinks, so this is for my kid, it's for my family. That element of love that we struggle in commercial kitchens for the chefs to deliver in restaurants. And that's the challenge, because the framework, the pressure of the job, and all these things, it makes it really hard for them.
Totally. You also mentioned that looking at different types of cuisines across the world, looking at the ingredients that are used in these different cuisines, exposed to you the arts and the sciences that are intricate and late that these foods are laden with. Was that one of the motivations also? Did that play in your mind when you were writing your first book?
My real learning happens after the book, or when I was doing the book. I did the book in 2016, so I did a bit of research. For me, I thought, we were ruled by the Brits. No. The influence in Kerala is majorly Portuguese, because they were the first settlement. They ruled us for 163 years, followed by the Dutch and English. So all these elements play a role. Who came in, their influences, the ingredients together, and the climate.
And does food continue to surprise you on a day-to-day basis?
Definitely, the food that is an endless world. So you are not going to finish. Every day, if you keep your eyes and ears open, you can learn so much. And like I worked in Savai Madhapur in 2001, so I understand a bit of Rajasthani cuisine, and I got one of my chefs who's from Rajasthan. So it's endless, and the food is food what I love and live for.
But despite trying all sorts of cuisines across the world and getting surprised by food every day, what's one dish that you will always go back to?
The Malabar biryani.
Biryani.
Made in kaima rice.
Right, lovely. I think now that you have discussed this very delicious world of food and cuisine and ingredients, I'm sure everybody here wants to know the sumptuous dish that you have for us today.
Basically, we have done a home-style chicken curry. So with the coconut. So I come from Kerala, the land of coconut and spices. So we have dry roasted the coconut with spices, ground to a paste, and cooked in the chicken thighs with coconut milk and the tempering of mustard and shallots.
Lovely. I think that sounds absolutely delicious, and I can't wait to try it. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of everybody here at the FOF Lounge. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for being a part of this episode
Thank
of
you for
Jaipur
listening.
Bytes podcast.